When people imagine the fall of the Roman Empire, they picture fire. They imagine barbarian tribes storming the gates, legions collapsing in chaos, emperors poisoned inside marble palaces. But empires do not collapse in a single dramatic moment. They decay. Slowly, quietly, from the inside. And one of the most powerful and most invisible forces of that decay is money. Rome did not fall only because of invasions. It did not fall only because of corruption. It did not fall only because of weak rulers. Rome fell because its money died. And when money dies, trust dies with it. And when trust dies, empires follow. Around 211 BC, during the Second Punic War, Rome introduced a silver coin that would become the backbone of its economy. The Roman denarius. It was small, simple, pure. Nearly 95% silver. It wasn't just metal. It was confidence in physical form. Roman soldiers were paid in it. Merchants demanded it. Taxes were calculated in it. Wealth was stored in it. The coin represented something deeper, the strength of Rome itself. As long as Rome was strong, the denarius was strong. For centuries, this system worked. Rome expanded. Trade flourished across Europe, North Africa, and the Middle East. Roads connected continents. Aqueducts fed cities. Legions defended borders. But power is expensive. An empire is the most expensive machine humanity has ever built. By the 2nd century AD, Rome had stretched itself across 3 continents. It faced constant threats. Germanic tribes in the north, the Parthian Empire in the east, rebellions inside its own territories, political instability in Rome. Military spending exploded. Legions had to be paid. Fortifications built, weapons forged, supply chains maintained. Taxes were already high. Raising them further risked rebellion. So emperors chose something politically easier. They changed the money. Under Augustus, the denarius contained about 95% silver. By the time of Caracalla in the early 3rd century, silver content had fallen to around 50%. By the reign of Gallienus, it dropped below 5%. Think about that. A coin once nearly pure silver became mostly bronze, coated with a thin silver wash to make it look real. It looked the same. It felt similar. But it was a lie, and people noticed. You cannot fool an entire population forever. Merchants began weighing coins. People demanded more coins for the same goods. Soldiers asked for higher pay. Inflation had begun. Money is not valuable because it is metal. It is valuable because people believe in it. Once Romans realized their coins were being diluted, something far more dangerous than inflation began. Trust erosion. A sack of wheat that once cost 1 denarius now cost 10, then 20, then 50. The government responded the only way it knew how. It minted more coins, less silver, higher prices. A vicious cycle. Local economies began reverting to barter. Gold was hoarded. Silver disappeared from circulation. The economy fractured. Between 235 AD and 284 AD, Rome entered chaos. This period is known as the crisis of the 3rd century. Nearly 50 years of instability, more than 20 emperors, most assassinated, civil wars, foreign invasions, plagues, economic collapse. But beneath the drama was a financial system already broken. Taxes were demanded in coins worth almost nothing. Farmers abandoned land rather than pay. Trade networks disintegrated. The empire was rotting from within. In 301 AD, Emperor Diocletian tried something bold. He issued the edict on maximum prices. Over 1,000 goods and services had fixed price limits. Violators faced death. It was one of history's most extreme attempts to fight inflation. It failed spectacularly. When money loses value, you cannot force prices down by law. Black markets exploded. Official trade collapsed. Confidence deteriorated further. The government tried to command reality. Reality did not obey. Eventually, Rome abandoned the denarius entirely. Around 312 AD, Constantine the Great introduced a new gold coin, the solidus. It was stable, consistent. High purity gold. It restored trust, especially in the Eastern Roman Empire. The solidus would survive for centuries in what later became the Byzantine Empire. But the Western Roman Empire, it was already too weakened. By 476 AD, it officially fell. The currency crisis did not cause every problem, but it hollowed out the core. And once the core is hollow, the structure collapses. After World War I, Germany faced crushing reparations under the Treaty of Versailles. The government printed money to meet obligations. By 1923, hyperinflation exploded. A loaf of bread that once cost 1 mark cost billions. People carried wages in wheelbarrows. Savings evaporated. Economic despair fueled extremism, and eventually, the rise of Adolf Hitler. Money collapse became political collapse. The early 2000s, Zimbabwe printed money to cover deficits. By 2008, inflation reached unimaginable levels. The currency died. Citizens were forced to use US dollars and South African rand. Once again, debasement to inflation to collapse. In 1971, Richard Nixon ended the gold convertibility of the US dollar. The Nixon shock severed the last link between the dollar and gold. The dollar became fully fiat. Since then, money supply expanded dramatically. Debt ballooned. Purchasing power steadily declined. A dollar today buys a fraction of what it did in 1971. No wheelbarrows, but silent erosion, slow debasement, different form, same principle. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Inflation is not random. It is policy. It is a hidden tax. It transfers wealth from savers to debtors, from workers to asset holders, from the public to the powerful. Rome clipped its coins. Modern governments expand balance sheets. The mechanism changes, the outcome does not. Today, every major economy runs on fiat currency. Every major government carries massive debt. Central banks can create trillions digitally. Never in history has the entire global system relied so heavily on trust alone. Rome's crisis was imperial. Weimar's was national. Zimbabwe's was local. The next one could be global, and history suggests something important. Elites protect themselves with real assets. Ordinary people hold cash, and cash is what melts first. Stability is not permanent. Money is only as strong as trust. Real wealth is productive assets, skills, and tangible value. Inflation destroys slowly. Then suddenly, Romans never imagined their silver coins would become bronze scraps. Germans never imagined billion-mark bread. Zimbabweans never imagined trillion-dollar notes worth nothing. Every collapse begins with disbelief. The barbarians did not kill Rome. The treasury did. The coin died first, then the empire. History does not repeat exactly, but it rhymes with terrifying precision. When money is manipulated, diluted, and abused, collapse is not immediate. It is gradual, then inevitable. Rome learned this lesson over centuries. The question is, will we learn it faster? Or will we learn it the same way they did, the hard way? If this gave you a new perspective, subscribe. Because history is not about the past. It is a warning about the future.